We are quite honored to receive you here in our Ministry of Agriculture. Indonesia is a very important partner in Mexico. I won't give you details because you know very well how important is this relationship, but also because we have both sides the political will to undertake new initiatives and to strengthen our relationship from the political standpoint of view, diplomatically also, as well as in terms of trade and cooperation in general. I am very familiar with your ambassador. I actually attended one of your receptions not too long ago because one of your key colleagues at the embassy was returning to Indonesia. So we give this relationship the utmost importance, and my minister, Secretary Jose Calzada, sends you his regards, his greetings, and we are, as I said, quite honored that you came to Mexico. I understand that you had a series of important meetings during this week. I'm also happy that this is your last meeting. I hope before you return to Jakarta, you will have some time to enjoy a little bit of the sightseeing here in Mexico City or outside Mexico City.
Thank you, Mr. Raul Ortega Attorney. I think this is a good time and opportunity to meet with you in the visit of our vice speakers from Indonesia. I know that we have been going in so many issues and cooperation that we are going to see in the near future. So, in that sense, knowing that the bilateral ties between our two countries is enhanced, then the vice speakers take a chance to visit and to ensure that what we have been doing so far can be also follow up and be implemented in the near future. Mm-hmm. In that regard, I would like to give the floor to my vice speakers.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Mr. Raul Ortega and colleagues. First of all, I would like to introduce, my name is Fadli Zon. I'm the Vice Speaker, coordinating for politics, law, and security, including intelligence, defense. But I'm also the chairman for the Indonesian Farmers Union. So it's related. Yes. And my colleague here is an honorable member of Parliament, Saiful Bahri Ansori, from the Commission for Foreign Affairs and Defense, and also from Embassy, Mr. Senor Christian, and from the Secretariat of our House of Representatives, my colleagues, and also from Embassy. So first of all, I think this is our last meeting, and we would like to note that the visit to the Office of Agriculture in Mexico is our gesture to promote the cooperation and possibility and potential cooperation in agricultural sector as well. And I think, as you may know, that Indonesia is an agricultural country actually. Also, our people works in agricultural sector, and but then we have also some problem with our food security sometimes, so we have to import. But that's I think we are in the globalization. Sometimes we cannot produce everything from our land. So sometimes we have to export and import. That's depend to the commodity. So in terms of livestock and cattle, Indonesia still depend too much to certain countries, maybe you know, and then we would like to make a variety of sources, so it can also make us decide which one is better one in terms of quality and also price. So I think Mexico is one of the country that we would like to promote also. I think from my union also, we are not, we support this as a part of demand in Indonesia of the cattle, livestock, and also the meat. Yeah. And of course, as I heard also from the ambassador, we have some kind of meetings and agreement in the last several months. Yeah, business to business contact also. And I just contacted our Minister of Agriculture just now, from my phone, and asking whether he's going to Mexico or not. And I said still considering because of schedule, but I definitely will send the Director General from the Ministry of Agriculture. So I think, Mr. Raul, we now have opened our market to import halal meat and cattle from Mexico, and this is also opportunity for Mexico to fulfill our demand and our market. Indonesia is a huge market also for meat.
Yes.
You know, 260 million people.
Yes.
And of course, from our side, we would like to have self-sufficiency, but it's not yet there, and the stomach cannot wait. So, you know, the demand is also very high, and sometimes the price of the meat is also quite high, especially in a certain holiday, like Islamic holiday, before the Idul Fitri holiday, the Idul Adha holiday. Yeah. So it was reached its peak in the price of meat at during that time. And maybe you have also experienced some other commodities. Maybe when from our Minister of Agriculture comes to Mexico City, I think it's going to be a very good opportunity to develop further relation in terms of potential cooperation in other commodities as well.
Yes.
Yeah. So thank you very much for that.
I would like to briefly introduce my team here. We have, this is the International Affairs area of the ministry, and we basically work on three main issues, which are the opening of markets, trade negotiations included. We have a very strong team working on bilateral and multilateral cooperation, and then we also are focused on important global issues. We understand the importance of Indonesia as a partner of Mexico. We both are members of APEC. We both are members of the G20 group of countries. We are also in this new grouping, MidCap, and I believe in this day and age we have an opportunity to really work together and realize many opportunities in terms of trade, in terms of further collaboration, in terms of deepening, as I said in the beginning, our relationship. We have, as I said, this team here, and I will ask my colleagues to introduce themselves quickly. Elias, ¿te puedes presentar?
Díaz Reyes, Under Director of Relations with International Organizations.
My name is Lucas Cruz. I am Director of International Affairs. Welcome.
Hi, my name is Adriana Herrera. I am in charge of trade negotiations, like multilateral, WTO, or bilateral as well.
Thank you, and welcome to Mexico. My name is Bernardo Orozco, and I'm Senior Advisor to Raúl Wakil.
We have two or three issues that we would like to put on the table in this friendly conversation that we are having. You mentioned, Mr. Vice Minister, the big demand for meat products in Indonesia. And here in Mexico, we are working towards making sure that our products comply with the halal certification. We consider Indonesia as the most important potential market for Mexico under the halal certification process. On that, I would like to ask my colleague Bernardo to briefly explain what we are doing here and the opportunities that lie ahead for our cooperation together.
Thank you very much. I would mention, as Raúl pointed out, we have been trying to work very hard in identifying which would be the best route to obtain the halal certification as soon as possible, given the fact that we have several weaknesses regarding the process for certification, and we lack training and experience. So in this sense, we have, as it was mentioned here, made a global research in trying to identify the best practices and the best policies to comply with those requirements, as we understand that this is a sine qua non condition to access the market. So once we have discussed and explored with several institutions, we have identified the Halal Institute from Spain as the main source for training our institutions and our companies in order to obtain the certification processes. This is because it is our understanding that the Halal Institute from Spain is widely recognized all over the world, including the halal authorities in Indonesia, in Malaysia, and in the Asia-Pacific region. So we are developing in Sagarpa a strategic partnership with the Instituto Halal from Spain in order to obtain the training and process for certification in a joint manner with Sagarpa and Mexican institutions and companies. So in the next few months, we are going to work towards the training for our companies in order to comply with the requirements that the halal sacrifice mandates and all the quality control assurance for this process in order to, as I mentioned, certify that the products that are being brought into the table of our consumers complies in a complete spirit with the halal conditions. I would like to go very quickly on this presentation. Siguiente, por favor. As it was mentioned, we are very sensitive of the requirements considered for the halal certification. Siguiente, por favor. And have identified, as I said, the several institutions that are involved in the certification processes for this production. So the Halal Institute from Spain has been working and obtained their recognition from the institutions, the halal authorities in Malaysia, Indonesia, and also other institutes, certifying bodies in Asia, Africa, and Europe. So we trust that this will allow us to access those markets with the quality and assurance that the consumers and the sanitary and religious institutions demand. Siguiente, por favor. So as it was mentioned, Mexico does not have a certifying body, and that is the reason we are creating this alliance with the Halal Institute from Spain, given the conditions regarding the language, given the training, and given the high recognition that this institution has with the institution Halal and certifying bodies worldwide. Siguiente, por favor. So it was, as it was mentioned, we are very sensitive of the fact that there are important drivers in the halal market and that there are potential for growth in the next few years, so we have to be prepared in order to satisfy those requirements from the consumers. Siguiente, por favor. Particularly, we are sensitive in the food industry and also processed foods, given the fact that it's not only beef, but also processed food that should not contain any type of haram contamination. So we are working on those processes. We are defining a working plan with the Halal Institute in order to comply not only with the beef, but also with the processed foods and certify that all of these processes are manufactured with good practices. Siguiente, por favor. As it was mentioned, we have identified a high potential of growth in the Asia-Pacific region, and so we have to work in a very close manner with our partners in the APEC region, our members at the G20, and of course take advantage of the friendship and collaboration that we have developed at MIDCA. I have to point out that we are very happy that this labor, all of this cooperation and negotiations has been done through the former ambassador of Mexico in Indonesia, Ambassador Melba Priya, which you probably are aware of. She's now ambassador in India, that is correct, but she set the grounds for these collaborations, and we're very happy to continue with her hard work. Siguiente, por favor. So in this chart we have identified that, as you pointed out correctly, Indonesia is one of the main consumers and exporters and importers of halal products, and we are committed to work very hard and obtain that certification. Siguiente, por favor. We can see that there is a high potential of growth and for this purpose, and we are very committed to comply with this. We will work very closely with the embassy here in Mexico, and we appreciate all the cooperation that we're receiving, and we reiterate our commitment to comply with those requirements that are set. Siguiente, por favor. So basically, besides food, we have to work also in other certifications for products and services, but as it was stated here, our main priority will be the food sector. Siguiente, por favor. Siguiente, por favor. So as it regards to food, we have identified some of the companies, also for, as it was mentioned, for beef, but also for other processed products. Siguiente. Again, it was pointed out that Indonesia is one of the main markets and importers of foods, and we have to work, as I mentioned, in identifying which will be the products and services from Mexico that will be adequate to the taste and the preference of the consumers in Indonesia. So we will develop very close collaboration in identifying those characteristics, those flavors, and try to adapt to those conditions. Siguiente, por favor. we can see that there is a high potential for population, for income in the not only in the present but towards the future. So this will be a long-term collaboration, and this is not going to be a one-day sale. We are not expecting only on a short basis, but to develop a long-term standing relationship, as it was mentioned here, not only on the trade issue, but also in cooperation and APEC and other fora which we share to improve production of agricultural products and services. Siguiente, por favor. Siguiente, por favor. So here we have also identified Indonesia as one of the main markets for, as it was stated here, for beef and live animals. This is data from the Muslim International World Council. So this is information that we gathered from the Halal Institute from Spain. So they are, as I mentioned, our strategic partners and allies in this process to work in a Mexican strategy to comply with that information. Siguiente, por favor. Siguiente. So the companies, the main global companies that are set in Mexico, Sucarne, the Council of Beef Producers, which is Mexican beef, the Gusi Group, Intergang, and Praderas Huastecas are some of the main beef feeders and processors that are part of this strategy, and which companies which we are going to work with on that strategy. We are expecting to develop a certification towards December, and to have the announcement of the Minister of Agriculture that we have obtained the certification for these companies and that they are ready to export towards those markets.
Just one clarification. All these companies are already exporting to other Islamic countries. For instance, Sucarne is exporting to Egypt already under the halal certification that Egypt accepts. Gusi Group from San Luis Potosí, and probably the ambassador is familiar with that company, is in the process of very soon, actually this month, this month of October, coming October, they are going to be for the first time exporting to the Emirate countries, Dubai, mostly to Dubai. And the Mexican beef also is very quickly being certified as well.
Siguiente. So, and as I mentioned, this will not only be for beef and beef products, but also to work towards, for example, non-alcoholic beverages. Grupo Modelo and Heineken, they have non-alcoholic beer. So we are going to work with them on that possibility, given the fact that Mexico is one of the main producers and exporters of beer to the world. So it is our responsibility to comply with those certifications of non-alcoholic beverages. Siguiente. And also for processed foods and dairy products, bread and fruit and vegetable and processed marmalades and sauces and other added value articles. So those are the ones we're going to work towards certification of halal products, so they can be on the markets in the next few months. Siguiente. Por favor, siguiente. Gracias. So, as it was mentioned, we expect to be part of this growth in the halal certification process worldwide, and to have our products in the table of halal consumers. Siguiente. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I would like to ask some questions.
Yes, please.
Maybe I would like to comment first. I think this is an excellent presentation.
Thank you.
But in case with Indonesia, besides you have engaged with the Institute of Halal in Spain, I think from the information from our ambassador, last December also there was a delegate from Majelis Selama Indonesia. That's an Islamic Council Board of Indonesia. From our side, what we need is also certification, halal certification from that institution. There is a Muslim board, and I think it's not that hard. Yeah, it's not that hard. Should be there some procedure, and they have advice also to the companies and also maybe to the partners here in Mexico. So I think for us the most important thing is you comply with all the advice and notes from the Islamic Council Board in Indonesia, which already have contact also, yeah, with your maybe institution. But definitely they already came to one of the companies.
I'm so glad, Mr. Vice Minister, that you are pointing out precisely this issue. We will be working closely with the ambassador in order to get guidance, because we would like to be in full compliance and follow, of course, the recommendations. We are open, obviously, to work not only with the Spanish Halal Institute, but also in this particular case, because our interest in the Indonesian market is quite high, for all the obvious reasons. But given the fact that we have a very close collaboration with the ambassador, we will seek your guidance, as I said, in order to move quickly on this issue.
I have two simple questions. First, how many livestock do you have? Available for export? I know that you have a huge market in the United States, of course, and also, and then what's the rest that's also available for other countries, including for Indonesia? And then the second one, because Mexico and Indonesia is quite far in terms of the transportation. Is that really something that we have to
Take into consideration.
And the third one, I heard, but I would like just a confirmation, that Mexico is free from food and mouth disease.
Correct. Yes. I'll try to answer quickly those questions. Number one, Mexico currently is the 7th largest producer of animal protein. 7th in the world. But it's growing much quicker than many of the other leading countries in terms of production and slaughtering and cuts of not only beef, but also, and I know that this is not the case in the particular case of the Islamic countries, but Mexico is very big in pork production and also in poultry. Poultry and beef are, of course, totally okay to export to the Islamic countries. But in terms of beef, the company that you saw in the presentation, the logo, Su Carne is now number 4 or number 5 in the world in the production of beef products. Here in Mexico, Su Carne has several agro-parks. 2 of them are close to the Pacific coast, meaning close to the ports. And you know very well that we can ship through refrigerated containers meat, because we are already doing that to countries such as Japan, Korea, Hong Kong, China, even Singapore. And Singapore is next to Indonesia. So that particular logistics, transportation logistics, is already in place. And
It's for meat.
yes. So and you have 2 ways of shipping meat, beef, refrigerated. And as you know, refrigerated meat could last up to 40 or more days without having any changes in the conditions of the freshness of the meat. But the other possibility is to send these shipments frozen. Many markets, especially the ones in Asia, don't like frozen meat, because the freeze of meat will alter a little bit taste and conditions of the meat. So the ideal factor is to send this refrigerated under the parameters, under the standards that your sanitary agency requests. X temperature or whatever, as well as the way to be put in the containers for the shipment of these products. I want to emphasize, and we will provide to your ambassador here, a presentation that clearly shows the status of Mexico in terms of beef production around the world. We have, for instance, in just one agro park in the northern part of Mexico, one facility that is raising 300,000 heads of cattle in just one facility in northern Mexico. This is an agro park with a surface area of 600 hectares. And the daily slaughtering there is 10,000 heads per day. 10,000 heads per day. Since this particular agro park, which belongs to Sucarne, is located in the northern part of Mexico, about half of the production, half of the cuts, go to the United States. The other half is for the domestic market. But as I said, even Sucarne has agro parks in the western part of Mexico, close to the Pacific coast. And those agro parks, the production there is geared towards markets in Asia, particularly Japan, Korea, and China. So already we have all these logistics in place, and also the certifications from those countries to export meat products. Your last question regarding Mexico as free of...
Sorry, how about the live cattle? Transport of live cattle?
The transport of live cattle is done mostly to the United States. Although your question is very interesting, because a few months ago, Saudi Arabia has requested the importation of Mexican live cattle to Saudi Arabia. Now we are considering how to do this, because the logistics towards the Middle East is relatively new for us. We have more experience shipping products to Asia, as I mentioned already, rather than to Middle East, but we are already developing that possibility as well. Now, Mexico is free of mouth and foot disease. That's true. All of the three North American countries, Canada, the US, and Mexico, we are free of that. This is without vaccination. This is important to mention. Our sanitary status is so positive on this particular disease that you mentioned, that none of the three countries vaccinate our cattle. That will be something unthinkable. We have in this hemisphere, Argentina, Brazil, Uruguay, big producers of cattle. They are not free of this disease, and they conduct vaccination in their herds. But they cannot, none of the three countries can export to North America. Some countries in Europe accept importation from Argentina, from Brazil, and from Uruguay, but under very strict conditions. In the case of Mexico, the US, and Canada, we have that very particular status, which gives, in particular, Mexico a big competitive advantage. As a matter of fact, production of beef and cattle in Mexico is rising much more quicker than in Canada or in the United States, because production costs, the sanitary status, and logistics make investors or entice investors to focus on Mexico rather than in the other countries.
I thank you very much, Mr. Raul Ortega, for your very clear and
Very clear.
straightforward informations. And indeed, as you were mentioned, we are ready to work with you to inform and to facilitate anything that we can do in order to make this transaction. We can say that because not to mention it in advance, but in order to make it happen in the future for the Mexican meat. And we know that we already exchanged between the business to business as well on how to make it happen, especially on the meat and also to the livestock. As you may be aware, that the Indonesian government also already announced. Previously, we have a quota both on meat and also on the cattle. But recently, it's about 2 days ago, our government announced that we are also already released the quota. So which means that it will be a huge opportunity for both of our countries to work in these sectors. And we praise also the Sukarne's effort, because last time we brought our Majelis Ulama Indonesia, as mentioned, our vice speakers, to come to see, to oversee, and to give an advice to the slaughtering house of the Sukarne in Michoacan. And they understand very well. And now we are expecting to make it happen quickly, that they can invite our Majelis Ulama in order to speed the process of the certifications from Indonesia. So then the barrier is gone after that process is done. So hopefully these kind of things can be also support and helped by you. So then we can, in a short time, can bring our mui to Sukarne. Because we know Sukarne is the biggest one, the more competitive in the market.
Yes.
We know that. This as a consequence. And the other thing for the livestock, the business to business also talk to the businesses in Campeche, in Tabasco. They are soon realizing the business transactions among themselves.
This is for livestock.
For the livestock.
Okay,
For the livestock.
perfect.
Yeah. But the amount that also granted by the government for the Mexico is huge. It's not small. It's above 200,000 a year. Up to 200,000 a year. But it also has been granted that the government already announced that for this year, Mexico can export 400,000 cattle, live cattle to Indonesia. Yeah, for this year.
Okay.
So
400,000.
yes, but they understand that the Mexican can beat the price of the Australia by those understanding that they can grant that Mexico can come in for 400,000. I think this is big opportunities. I would like to exchange this with you
Yes.
in the future to come very closely, so then we can do the process in due time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think ada pertanyaan lagi? Cukup. Thank you very much, Mr. Raul. I think we have enough information also, and we will keep in touch with the ambassador, especially we have some network also in Indonesia with the union works with this business and these commodities. What we want to make a confirmation, and you have answered very clearly that Mexico is available also, and also has some intention to work in this commodity with Indonesia. And I think we support this effort because it's we need that. Also, the demand is quite high, as I mentioned. And so the possibility, maybe we have to work in the details that include business and the business, and also some regulation that we have to follow accordingly. So thank you very much.
Yes, and one thing before we close the
Sure.
meeting,
Sure.
I just would like to inform also that Mexico has an experience to shipping the cattle to one of the country,
Egypt, yeah.
in Middle East, not exactly Middle East, which is Turkey. Yes, about 5,000 cattle, but only one shipping at a time. But I learned that it has been done in Mexico, and I know that the experience is there. But I believe that also the business to business already prepared the mechanism and the shipping arrangement for the cattle that they agreed to buy in the future from Mexico.
Thank you for that information. I was not aware of that. Thank you.
Yeah.
To Egypt.
No, to Turkey.
To Turkey.
To Egypt is meat, but to Turkey is livestock or cattle.
And they ship on ships
Ship.
with a team of 3 veterinaries
Yes.
who were in charge of certifying the good health
Yeah.
of the animals during the process.
Yes.
So it's something that we will need to work also
Yes.
towards the feeding of the animals
Yeah.
while they are on
Exactly.
travel, and certify their health and
Yes.
that they are not stressed during the
Yeah.
shipment and everything,
Exactly.
so that they arrived in perfect conditions.
Exactly. Exactly. And I know that you, what do you call it? Your systems.
Quarantine.
Quarantine system. The quarantine system that you apply is, for us, is very much inconvenient. Very much convenient for us. Because it's ensured that what you mentioned, that they have on the cattle. And one thing that I would like to ask you for hands, especially for the ranchers of the cattle industries there, to ensure that they can work in immediate, in a very good manner way, so that the process which is now taking place, this can be followed up speedily, because I know that the need of Indonesia is very close by this time. We can say that December is very close.
Yes.
Before the end of the year, beginning of the new year, I think the demand is also one of the peak, as mentioned by Mr. Vice Speaker. Yes, now.
On that, Mr. Ambassador, I would like to propose that we could meet again
Yeah.
next week.
I'm ready.
Yes.
Because after next week, I will be going to Indonesia.
Yes.
Yes.
So let's meet. And I'm glad that some of you are eating some of the food that was put on the table. I'm just telling my colleagues that.
What fruit is this?
Oh, why don't you explain? It's called tuna.
The name is.
No, this one.
Ah,
Is
this one. This one.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's cactus fig.
cactus.
In English, we know that as cactus fig. This comes from a cacti, and that in Mexico we have a cactus that gives these flowers and gives these fruits. 52% of the national territory are drylands, so we have a lot of cactus, and these are some of the fruits from those cactus.
The name in Mexico, the name is tuna.
Tuna nopal?
Yes.
Tuna
Nopal, yes.
Not the fish tuna, but and some of you are also eating strawberries. Mexico is one of the largest producers of strawberries and other type of berries like raspberries and blueberry, and we are exporting in a very big way to several markets, again in Asia, Japan, China, Korea, the United States. Actually now, today Mexico is the 4th largest producer of berries in the world. Yes, we are exporting to Europe also.
What is the first country?
The United States. Canada comes in 2nd place. I don't remember which one is the 3rd, but Mexico is number 4. And next time you visit Mexico, please let us know, and we, together with the ambassador, we can organize a field trip for you and your colleagues to Jalisco or Michoacan, where all these products are being produced. beautiful countryside. Your ambassador has been there.
Yes, a couple of times.
This juice is made of berries.
Berries.
Yes, it's
Oh, I thought it's guava. No, it's berries.
berries.
And also you have, you are the one of the biggest producer of aguacate, guacamole.
In fact, #1 in the world.
Avocados.
There is a huge market in the United States, and about 75% of avocado exports from Mexico go to the US market. But we are opening up very successfully Japan, for instance. Japan is now our second largest destination for Mexican avocados. Korea, not too much the fruit itself, but actually avocado oil. An avocado oil has two distinguished characteristics, not only in terms of nutrition, for salads or for other uses, but actually the cosmetics industry is utilizing avocado oil for different products, lotions, etc., etc. So this is happening already in a very quick fashion. The markets are open for some of these products too. I'm telling my colleagues here that I'm going to hold these meetings more often because we are being treated nicely.
Very well, eventually.